Welcome back to another Gentleman's Briefly. These are the episodes where we kind of talk about things that we normally don't talk about. And these are kind of shorter versions of the episodes. If you don't know, my name is Jordan, and I am one of the co hosts of the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. And today I have with me Mr. Spenser. Spenser, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So if you don't know, obviously Spencer is, one of the co-hosts as well on the regular feed. And yeah, today we have this is going to be an interesting episode how we do this. I think this will be pretty fun. So the premise of the episode is we will pick a color and we will basically just pick our favorite characters who are that color. So we will try to go through a couple different colors. Today we're going to talk about, characters that are red, and when we say characters who are red, we don't mean the costume is red. We mean no, their skin is red. They are red. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and give our top three favorite. So these can go in any order, no particular order. And I'll let you start, Spencer. Who you have on your list?
Okay. I will say I struggled with this one a little bit, narrowing it down. There were a few that I wanted to choose, but I'm gonna start with an easy one that I'm sure everybody knew was coming. We're gonna go Knuckles from Sonic.
Yeah, yeah, I knew that was that's on my list too, but I have an audible. But yeah,
yeah, Knuckles is my guy. I love Knuckles. Knuckles is kind of dumb. I think that as far as like giving him a little more character, they've made him kind of dumb, but that's okay. Knuckles is one of the strongest in all the land, and Knuckles has conviction, and Knuckles is very goal oriented. Knuckles is very passionate about his goals, and Knuckles will make sure that whatever he is protecting or whatever needs doing gets done. So yeah, I really like Knuckles.
yeah, I
He's
100% agree.
strong.
That was like on this red color, like Knuckles was first on my list. I was like, obviously I have to go him first.
Oh yeah, like that was easy. I like when uh I was doing red, like Knuckles immediately. Like I didn't have to think about it. Like he just popped in my head, and I was like, yeah. And I had to think about the rest of them, but yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, Knuckles was first.
And I love the way he looked in the new Sonic movie. Like for this to be like a live action Sonic, like they made him look really well.
I That movie helped because there's been some Sonic media that where like Knuckles I guess is bigger now. Like he used to be the same size as Sonic, and then they made him like bigger and like taller, and they
Right.
gave him a little more chest, and he's dumb as hell. And not just a huge fan of that Knuckles.
I know it reminds me of Drax a little bit.
Yeah, my Knuckles is Sonic Adventure 2 Knuckles on the Dreamcast and the GameCube. Well, and Sonic Adventure Knuckles in that one too. But yeah, like that was my Knuckles. That's the Knuckles that I grew up with, and the Knuckles that I love dearly.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I'm a big Knuckles fan as well. Is Would you say Knuckles is your favorite Sonic character in that universe?
Oh
Because
yeah, absolutely.
Shadow is my favorite out of that universe.
That makes sense. Shadow is how I like whenever I learned the word Edge Lord. Shadow
Yeah,
is like who I was like. I think that he qualifies. I think that's
yeah.
that's who they're talking about. So yeah, because I remember Shadow the Hedgehog. He had his own game and he had guns.
That was the first time I was like, "Yo, he got guns," and it was like multiplayer and everything. I was like, "Yo, this is nice."
Yeah, I was like, I think I can get behind this. So
Yeah,
yeah, I definitely get it. Shadow, and it's surprising that Shadow did as well as he did because you would think that he's just kind of a knockoff, but no, they made Shadow his own, and yeah, Shadow's a good favorite character. But yeah, me and Knuckles, we go way back.
yeah, I get that. Okay, for my first pick, so I do believe this character is considered red, although he does have another color on him, but he is primarily red, and I have to go with Optimus Prime,
Okay,
the the Autobot leader himself. I mean, his whole upper half is red, and only like his legs are blue, but the rest of him is like considered red. And there's many other iterations where he's just mostly red as well.
I
So
would
that's how I have
I'd
him.
call him red. Like most of his body's red. So yeah, I'd say that qualifies because I guess his head isn't red and his legs,
Yeah,
but like because I
it's
I
like his
would
whole torso is like red.
yeah. So yeah, that's yeah yeah I'll give you that.
So yeah, I mean the leader of the Autobots, and I mean if people heard the regular podcast, they know I've been on this whole Transformers kick, and so Optimus is quickly turning into one of my favorite characters out there, just from his leadership ability and some of his speeches that he gives. I mean, just the many iterations of him that we've seen, and he also is a character who does not give up. Like in the face of defeat, like Optimus always finds a way to kind of get out of things, and I really like that tenacity that's in him. Like I like that never give up attitude. And obviously, I also think just seeing, Transformers in general, transform from vehicle mode to regular robot mode, like I really enjoy that. And so Optimus has quickly become like one of my more favorite characters.
That's one question I was going to ask is whenever he's a truck, what color is he?
Red.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I wasn't
he's
sure if
only
he was
red, and
blue
then
as a truck.
no, he's only red, and then like his trailer is gray most of the time. But other than that, yeah, he's red.
Okay, okay. For my next one, I'm gonna have to go with Carnage from Marvel Comics
Man, we were thinking just alike. We definitely were.
because man, Carnage is a problem. Uh, Carnage is the epitome of senseless violence, of just rage and wanting to be violent for the sake of violence. Like there's no like reason for it. He's not trying to accomplish any goals.
Right.
He's just a loose cannon. Just doesn't care about anyone's life. No mercy, no remorse, none of that. He's just here to make the world red with blood.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
Yeah,
he's
Carnage is nice.
yeah, I mean, and his name being Carnage, yeah, that applies. Like that name fits. For anyone who doesn't know, if you are familiar with Marvel Comics, then you may know of the character Venom. Venom is a symbiote that requires a human host. Symbiotes are asexual and they reproduce just by themselves. And so Carnage is a birthing from Venom, a child of Venom. And so Carnage found Cletus Cassidy, who is a murderer and a crazy person in his own
Right.
right. And so Carnage was happy to find Cletus because they both were interested in killing folks. And usually with the symbiotes, they have a kind of together relationship. Like the symbiote, of course, needs a host, and the host is made more powerful by the symbiote. And the relationship that they have matters because if one rejects the other, then it's going to be an issue. They're not going to be as powerful. They're going to, run into problems. So they have to
Yeah.
unite, work together, and it's a symbiotic relationship. So Carnage is kind of the symbiote, is kind of violent by nature and chaotic and wants to, see the world run red with blood. And so Cletus was the perfect host for that. If Carnage had found like a nun, it wouldn't have gone well. And
I'm
so
I'm I'm happy you explained that because a lot of people don't know that. Like that's the biggest difference between Venom and Carnage is Cletus and Carnage both have the same goal. Cletus was, he was happy to give up his body that the symbiote can take over. Meanwhile, Venom and Eddie Brock, they don't really want to be together, and so that's why they're not nearly as strong as Carnage is. I'm happy you explained that though.
yeah. So it's yeah, Carnage is such a problem that Venom and Spider-Man together sometimes can't handle him.
Right.
Like they have to put aside their differences and team up against Carnage because he's the bigger problem, and sometimes both of them together are not able to handle him. Like Carnage is too much. And
Yeah.
yeah, Carnage mostly turns himself into very violent weapons because symbiotes can kind of form into whatever they want. Um, yeah, Carnage is
Yeah.
Carnage is terrifying.
I mean, that's also kind of one of the also differences that we see is Carnage can also like make himself like a sword arm or a hammer arm or a pitchfork arm, any of that stuff. Like meanwhile, we don't necessarily see Venom do that stuff.
Yeah, generally Venom will like reach out for people or like kind of use quote unquote webs the same way Spider-Man does. But yeah, Carnage, turns his body into weapons. Like I don't know how he made his arm into a chainsaw, but he did.
Right.
And so yeah, Carnage, he is a rated R villain. Like Carnage should not be in a PG-13 or under situation. I don't know why they tried it. It was poorly executed. If you see the second Venom movie, that is not my Carnage. Please understand. That's not what we
I
want. That's not who we like.
I actually didn't mind that Carnage, but I did not like Woody Harrelson as Cletus. I didn't like him as Cletus.
Okay.
Like I thought he
The
looked
movie
Cletus.
wasn't good. It
Oh yeah,
didn't
the movie wasn't good.
like it didn't do a very good job of showing us who and what Carnage is.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, and one example, like Venom is a we. Venom will say we are Venom.
Yeah.
Carnage is an I. I am Carnage. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Good, great pick. Great pick. Okay. My next character, I gotta go over to the Pokemon universe. And if you have listened to some of other gentlemen briefly, I've mentioned this Pokemon before, and that is the steel type Pokemon Scizor. So for me, Scizor is a it's a favorite for me. You get a Scizor by evolving a Scyther with Metal Coat, and yeah, we get it there. I love the design of this Pokemon, and even when it goes into Mega Scizor, like I still really like this Pokemon. And I'm not always like the biggest bug type Pokemon fan, but this Scyther and then also to the Scizor was like quickly became one of my favorite, bug type Pokemon. Um, and I mean, having access to steel type moves also really helps it out in battle. I will say everyone knows it has a double weakness to fire type Pokemon, so that's unfortunate. But we can get around that. But I like Scizor. I like the design of it. I think it just looks really good. So you know about Scizor?
I do. Scizor was I don't which generation is Scizor in? Is it the second one or
Yeah,
uh,
Gen 2.
yeah, I'm pretty familiar with Gen 2. And so when Scizor showed up, I did not know that. Hold on. Oh, I thought I had to sneeze. It went away. Um, I I didn't know that Scizor was evolved from Scyther, but when I saw Scizor, I was like, oh, that is probably related to Scyther some kind of way.
Yeah,
Kind of like Onyx and Steelix. I wasn't sure, but I was like, that's probably a
right.
thing. I love that Scizor has the clamps.
Yeah,
Uh,
put the clamps on folks.
yeah,
I
I
know it's
like
like it goes from like a sword and then now it goes to like the clamps. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like, I mean, the evolution makes sense because now Scizor can use each hand to do damage as opposed to having to like use both to cut things in half, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess I don't know with Pokemon sizes is really like a challenge for me to figure out like how big Pokemon are if I don't see them in
Yeah.
comparison to other things. So I don't know how big Scizor is.
I will say like in some of the later games they started introducing like definitely like different sizes for Pokemon. So like you'll have like the normal size. So normally Scizor is about 5'11. But in like some of the newer games you can have like a bigger Scyther. But I mean if you think about it, a 5'11 bug,
That's what I was
it's
gonna say. Like that's the size of the average man.
I mean, come
Uh,
on now. Average, I mean,
I
I'm
mean
5'8". Come on
a
now.
little bigger than the average man.
There you go, just a little bigger than the average man.
But yeah, like if I saw a human sized buck, I'm leaving.
Yeah, for real. And I looked it up just now, and also the weight. It weighs 260 pounds. That's a big
With,
boy.
with it being steel type, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Because I am like Wolverine got a lot heavier when
Right.
he got infused with the metal. So
Right.
that definitely makes sense. But yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with Scizor, but not super.
Yeah. I think all the people who are like huge Pokemon fans. I think this is definitely probably one of the fan favorites, and it has to be because it gained a Mega Evolution, and I feel like it was one of the first ones. And so back when they kind of first started introducing Mega Evolutions, like I feel like more of the popular Pokemon started getting those. That's why Charizard has two, and also Mewtwo has two evolutions. And so this one was one of the ones who got Mega Evolution first.
Is Scizor's Mega Evolution a different color?
No, it's still red, but the claws got a lot bigger. And I think in general it just gets a lot bigger, but the claws for sure get a lot bigger.
That makes sense. Okay, all right. Um, well, for my third pick, this was the one I struggled with because I had two people in mind. Both that I became familiar with from Cartoon Network. I'm going to go with the non-evil one, and I'm going to go with Frylock from Aqua Teen Hunger
Ah,
Force.
good. I had him on my list for a while, and I was like, I'll take him off. That's a good pick. I love Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
I really love Frylock. In a group setting, he would be the what do you call it? The guy who's dry, the straight man. That's what Frylock is. He's the straight man in the comedy trio.
Yeah.
And yeah, Frylock is usually just getting on to the other two about some stupid nonsense that they've gotten themselves involved in. Frylock was, you know, how we will take characters who don't have necessarily identifiable race and decide
Oh yeah,
Frylock is absolutely black. His name is
bro.
Frylock.
I'm telling, and then he got a mustache and everything. Like, come
Yeah,
on
he's
now,
got the
his fries
goatee.
look like dreads. Like, come on now.
That's why his name is Frylock. Like that's
Right.
Frylock is absolutely black. And also Frylock is a great name. But
Yeah, I got to look up who's the voice actor for Frylock. Like, if he's not black, that is going to be disappointing. Because like in
I
my mind, every time I heard him, I for sure thought he was black.
yeah, I can see
He
the guy.
is.
It is a black dude. I can see his face, but I don't know his name. Uh
Carrie Means is his name.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't know Carrie means from anything else, but I just know he is Frylock, and yeah, love that guy. But yeah, Frylock having braces is really random. Yeah, Aqua Teen Hunger Force is one of those shows that's like weird as fuck, but they had some episodes that were so funny.
Oh yeah,
And
I agree.
like the anytime, well, this is a random Aqua Teen Hunger Force reference, but there was a robot telling a story and there was much defecation. Like that's one of the funniest episodes ever.
Yeah,
It's
Carl.
Carl is
Carl.
ridiculous. Yeah, it's
Carl's
really
wild.
stupid. But yeah, definitely I love Frylock.
You know what's crazy? I did not realize it ended in 2015. It went on for 15 years. I did not know that.
I didn't know it
That
went on continuously for that long. I thought that there were breaks between new episodes, but I guess it never technically ended. But yeah, I remember watching it as a teenager.
yeah. Oh yeah. I remember like early 2000s watching it. So it might have been a little bit before I was a teenager.
Yeah, but and you know, shouldn't have been watching it. But
Right.
you know, I had a good time with it. It was fun.
Okay. My
And
last
also
character,
he had laser eyes. Like Frylock be fucking people up.
I know he randomly has some random powers.
Yeah.
It, but I guess
Don't
if you're
but yeah,
dealing with
don't
Shake and Meatball, like you got to have something because yeah, they were something else. I
yeah.
would hate to live with them.
Same. Yeah, Shake was always I don't know.
Hey,
Shake
low
was
key, Shake was
ridiculous.
so funny. He
Shake
was
was
so funny.
hilarious, and Meatwad was too. But like, I no, I would not have wanted to live with either of them.
Yeah. And then you got your neighbor Carl, like, oh man.
Carl hated all of them.
Yeah. And I mean, he let it be known lots of times too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Felt bad for Carl. Okay. My last character, unfortunately it's already been mentioned, but I mean I'll just kind of reiterate what it was. It was Carnage for me. Carnage was also on my list. And I mean, I've said it plenty of times before. Like, I prefer Carnage over Venom, just because of all the things that Carnage can do, and I just like that character in general. Um, yeah, that was Carnage to me is like out of all of these symbiotes that was created. So was it like I don't know? There's probably a bunch now. Toxin, Scream, obviously Venom, and
Beige, I
there's
think is one.
yeah, Phage, yeah, and a couple more. But to me, out of all of them, Carnage is the best one.
Agreed.
And the fact that we even started getting that many is crazy to me too. So I mean, they must have been a hit. Like Venom was a hit, and then I feel like Carnage came. And I was like, okay, we got to start putting out more, and then they started putting out more, and I feel like nobody's cared about the other ones.
Pretty much.
And
Yeah, because like nobody cares about Riot or
yeah, what color is that one?
Riot. I want to say is black. Uh,
Because I think Toxin is purple. I think Scream is yellow. Which in the not almost said Deadpool 2, Venom 2, we almost seen we not almost, but we kind of did see Scream. Um,
because
and
Riot
then
was the Venom in the first one, right?
yes, yeah.
Okay. Um,
So
Phage is orange.
sounds right. Sounds right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody cares about the rest of them.
Yeah, I'll say everybody just only really cares about, Carnage and freaking
Yeah,
Venom.
Carnage, Venom, and like maybe Null, but that's and I guess they're trying to care about Toxin. Like I think Toxin is billed as like the most powerful one because it's like the 1,000th offspring or something. But
I would say, yeah, that and they have more recently started showing that one. So I would agree with that.
yeah, I don't have big feelings about Toxin. Again, Carnage is the one.
Okay. Let me take a quick guess. Was the character you were going to talk about was him?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Because yeah, I mean also with the clamps, but I loved him. Him was as especially for like kindergarten girls. Him is terrifying.
Right.
I think that I've heard that him, all cartoons have conspiracy theories. Um, I've heard that the whole like thing behind him was that him and the professor were brothers, and him chose a lifestyle that the professor didn't agree with, and so that is why him was depicted as the devil, and you know doing the things with the boa and the high boots and
Mm.
the the outfit and all that, because that was an allegory for the professor's disdain toward the choice that Venom made. And so that's how him was made out to be to the girls, and that is why we don't even speak his name. He is simply
Dang.
him.
That's a crazy theory. That is crazy.
But that's the thing. Like, there's some people who don't believe in that, and so there are some people who would say that's the devil.
Right.
So like, it's
It's
when I heard it, I was like, it holds up.
after as you was talking about that, I got a vision in my mind. Like they have some real sus looking red devil characters because they have him. They got the devil from Cow and Chicken with the big booty,
Yep.
and then they got the devil from South Park. That was with Saddam Hussein.
I
I was like,
always wondered, like South Park, yes, that makes sense. But I was like, do we want to put the devil in these children's shows? Is that
that's probably why they always make them so ridiculous too. Because like they're not, all three of them aren't I would say him is the scariest one out of all
Him
three
is
of them.
terrifying. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Him was getting the girl psychologically. Like him
Right.
was not him. I think that him was the most powerful Powerpuff Girls bit. Like him was had the most capacity to be successful. Him was the most scary. Him was the biggest problem that they came across because he could get you physically, he could get you psychologically, and yeah, him was you scary.
Yeah. That's a good point. So I am interested to see, once the episode releases, I want to, post in the Facebook group, see what other red characters that people care about, so we can involve the people.
Oh
I think
yeah,
that'd
I
be
want to
pretty
see.
fun.
Yeah, who are your favorite red characters?
Yeah.
And that's not
So
wearing red. That's red.
yeah, red skin. So next time we're gonna talk about orange, the color orange. So I'm curious to see what orange characters that you can come up with. So
Should be a good time.
yep. Until next time, salutations.